Come in the room and experience DeVonnda Shantel, who is one of our breakout session leaders, as she teaches about leadership in corporate spaces and beyond.
Hey everybody, welcome to the leadership session. Oh Lord, all y'all want to stay with me. There's a finance class if you want to go to the other one. Well, before I get started, because I had a whole lesson and I was going to do this, but God has me to pivot. So I want to ask everybody in this room, how many of you feel like sometimes you shrink or you go to the background? Okay. So my name is DeVonnda McCormick. I am an associate director for one of the top pharmaceutical companies in the world. I have been in this position about 4 years, but I have been in leadership for about 14 years. And I have grew to love leadership. And all that sounds good, but I do want to talk a little bit about my story and who I am. Do we have any underdogs in the room? Yeah, I was the underdog. I was the person that they told my family didn't think I was going to be anything. I'm the one that they told that I wasn't smart enough, or I wasn't aesthetically pretty to be in the forefront. I was the one people thought that was going to be in jail. So like Pastor Odetta said, you might look at me now, but I was a fighter. Got suspended every year from 6th grade to 11th grade. I'm the one that did not want to go to college. My mom had to force me to go to college. She's the one that filled out my application because she said, you're going to be better than me. I want you to you can bring me home any degree you want. It can be a degree in basket weaving. You are going to college. But I never felt smart enough. I've always been the person that had to work 10 times harder than everybody else. I was the one that was counted out. I was the one that they did not think that was going to make it. And I have to share that backstory because people look at who you are now and they don't know your story of how you got there. So fast forward a little bit about my story is that I didn't even plan on being in leadership. I didn't want to be in the forefront. I was the girl, I want to be cute, but in the background. I didn't want to talk. I had issues when it comes to speaking. I have some type of little speech impediment. And so when God started calling me to leadership, and I said, God, I don't want to speak in front of people. That's not what I want to do. And he took me to Exodus 4 and 10, and Moses had the same speech issue that I had. And I'm paraphrasing for my Bible scholars. When you go down to verse, I think it's 11 or 12, God, I don't care nothing about all that. I called you to lead, and that's what I want you to do. And so I didn't know this yet. I just was going through life, finding myself. I thought I was going to be a teacher. A person that don't like to talk, you want to teach, right? So I thought I was going to be a teacher. That didn't happen. I couldn't pass the test. Then it got to the point where I was like, okay, Lord, what is my destiny? I know I'm going through school. I went to school for education. I'm getting my master's in education. I can't pass the test to even teach. Then I get an opportunity to teach. And I'm like, oh, I don't like this. This ain't for me. The administrator, the kids, the parents. I said, God, you didn't call me to teach in this aspect. And so then I went and got a call center job because I was still trying to find my way. I was like, I don't know what it is that you want me to do. And so after I got the call center job, I got laid off. Then I got another call center job. My friends passed me by, they making 6 figures. I'm barely making $50,000 a year. And I'm like, Lord, what is it that you want me to do? What is my purpose? Why am I here on earth if I'm going through all this? I'm lost. So then I got another job at a pharmaceutical company. I didn't know nothing about pharmaceuticals. What is pharmaceuticals? I just know they were tiring. I needed a job. $22 an hour at that time was good for me because I was staying with my mom. So I took that job and I excelled at that job. And a lady told me, she said, oh, you're a leader. You're gonna be speaking into people's lives. You're gonna be a supervisor soon, watch. I don't like people like that, I don't wanna be a supervisor. What you mean, I'm going to lead? And about 3 to 6 months later, they came to me and asked, they said, you are phenomenal at this job. Would you like to be a supervisor? And fear took over me, because I was like, I ain't never did this before. I don't know how to lead people. What am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to say to people? And then I took the job, and I just found my way. I started researching, because I'm an overachiever, so I researched, I started looking at things, but I knew that I wanted to be authentically me and what it is that God has called me to do. So I took the job, I started learning about leadership, I started learning about development, I started learning about the things that I needed to do to be a great leader. And one of the ladies said, because black women managers get the most terrible rep, and I didn't want to be that stigma. Raising your hand. I wanted to be set apart. I said, God, if this is the lane that you have me in, take me out of it. I want you to use me like never before. And so then I gradually from there, I just started elevating. And God just started putting me in rooms I never thought that I would be in. Sometimes I would be the only black woman in these rooms. And I still felt like I was shrinking. I still felt like I wasn't good enough. I still felt like I was hiding because that little girl in me, you know, when they tell you that you're not good enough, when they tell you that you're never going to be anything, those things still be in your spirit when it comes to what God is calling you to actually do. And you have to die to those things daily. You have to pray. You have to seek God. And I walk in every room saying, I have something that they need. And so when I went from a supervisor to a district manager. And when I became a district manager, I told God, I said, okay, God, what do you want me to do with these program managers, these managers that are, these agents at the time, these agents that are assigned to me. I had agents that didn't know how to do emails. I had agents that didn't know how to have conversations on meetings. I had agents that just didn't know because nobody had ever taken the time to develop them. Sometimes as leaders, we get caught up in self, and we have to realize that the people under us matter. And we have to develop them, we have to push them. I've never been the type that, I want you to surpass me. If you get past me, I done did my job. So I started to develop them. I said, this is how I called a meeting. I said, this is how you send an email. When somebody talks to you and responds in email, you respond to them. Because they wouldn't acknowledge your email. How does somebody send you an email and you don't acknowledge it? You have to acknowledge an email. And a lot of leaders say, well, I do everything because I don't trust my team, or I don't trust people to handle this because they're not going to handle it like me. That says something about you as a leader. You have to take the time to develop the people that are under you. You have to take the time to push people into what it is that they are supposed to do. Learn who they are and what their capabilities are. You have some people that may be good at Excel. You have some people that may be good at sending emails. You cannot, as a leader, do everything yourself because you are going to be burnt out. So then I keep going, and God actually moves me to an associate director role. And let me tell you, they said that we want to put you in this role because your name rings bells. So I just want to prophesy to somebody in here that your name is going before you. Your name is going to be in rooms before you even get there. Amen. So when they said that, I was like, well, they don't know me. And I have to understand who I serve. We as Christians, we have to understand that we can change the atmosphere, right? So when I became an associate director, when I tell you, the team was a mess. I went home and I started praying and I said, God, I think I done bit off more than I can chew. What is it that you have for me to do with this team? And I seeked him in everything that I actually did. And he went and restructured the whole team. And now my team is one of the top performing teams in the country. And I'm saying this, we cannot do it without God, y'all. You have to pray. And a lot of times people ask me, how do you separate your faith in corporate? And I say, I don't separate my faith. Now, with HR, it's some things that you can't bring up. But before I go into meetings, before I go into rooms, I always pray. Because what we don't understand is that we can set and change any atmosphere that we walk into. I'm not going to be nervous. You're going to be nervous when I walk in the room. Because when my feet and I walk, demons tread. And you have to walk in authority when you are a leader. Right? Another thing that I want to tell my ladies. We are the lowest paid women in the world when it comes to corporate companies. And I want you to understand, and I'm gonna say this because it's true and I'm a realist, Black women have to get out of this mentality of, I just want a title and they don't pay me for that title.
Come on.
Right? I have seen too many times where a manager has come to me and they said, Vaughn, yeah, they gave me a new title. I said, okay, well, how much money they give me? Huh? So, are you doing more work? Yeah, I got another title. I'm doing more work, but I love this title. But they not gonna pay you? Go back to them, because jobs now have to tell you the pay range. And a lot of people don't ask because they're so fearful. We put the pay range in the bottom of the actual application that you actually have. A lot of times they couldn't do that, but now we have to. So what I noticed that jobs do is they pay us the lowest of the lowest that they can. So if the pay range is $50,000 to $80,000, you are making $55,000 a year. You are not making nowhere near $80,000. But you have to advocate for yourself. Don't let them get you with, oh, this is a lateral move. They love to tell us that. They love to tell you that this is a lateral move. So what's the part of that lateral move? So I have a number in my head, and I go $10,000 more than that number. And then if they can't give me with the 10,000, they usually give me the number that I really want in my head. So you can't be scared to go extra high. And you cannot be scared, because companies treat you, if you feel like you need that job, companies don't treat you like you need that job. If you walk like, I'm the person that you need. I have something that this company needs. I'm telling you, they treat you differently. I've seen it firsthand. And I tell people, when you go in these meetings, these jobs don't know what it is that they need until you say something.
That's right.
Especially you have these big wigs that come in, they don't do what you do every day.
That's right.
So they don't know. They're making decisions off assumptions and what they think. But if you have good ideas, if you are a person who implements, speak up in those meetings. I was that person that didn't speak up and didn't say anything. But you have to learn to speak up for yourself in these meetings. I did pass out some papers to you guys, and I want you to take a moment to kind of just fill it out, because I don't want to get too far ahead. And then I just want us to have a discussion or questions or anything that you may have. Okay. I don't have a paper, so I'm gonna have somebody just, I'm gonna make sure everybody get a paper so we can have a discussion. Ladies, Sam, I know you got a question. Well, I made you take question one. So number one, share a moment where you shrunk in a room you were qualified to own.
Every time that I spoke up, I kind of looked at my counterparts. And I looked at them, and they were like, I would get the looks, and I was like, okay. So I continued, because I did have genuine concerns. And so again, no one was speaking up, so I kept speaking up. So it got to a point where I felt like, well, maybe I'm saying a little bit too much. So let me just, let me just quiet down and see if someone else will speak up. No one else ever spoke up. So then we had another meeting, same thing. So I started to speak up, and I get the looks. I get, they can have an attitude without saying they act like they don't have an attitude about what it is that you say, right? And so for me, again, at that second meeting, I did the same thing. I kind of just shrunk myself because of, it gets to a point where if we know that what we have is valid and we know what we have is right, then we have a voice and we have to speak up. And so that's what I'm learning now. So that was my thing. I shrunk myself because of what other people, the looks I got, the way they interacted with me. Because in all actuality, you may be in a position where you know more than them, and they are in a leadership position. They want you to do the work, like DeVonnda said. They want you to do the work, they want you to do all of this, but they don't want to pay you the money. So that's when I learned, and that's when I shrunk myself because of that.
And I do the two things you said, and I noticed too what people do is, and you said a mouthful, Lady Sam. People go to work and they do jobs that are not in their job description because they think if I do more, that's gonna put me in the running for something else. So when they give it to somebody else, now you at a place of disappointment because you said I was doing everything else somebody else did. And I'm gonna tell you that do your job. Don't do no more. I know what they told you, and I know you think if I do more, then somebody will see you. That does not happen. That's how people come in these jobs and get these roles, and you think, oh, I done did all this. Why haven't they picked this? Sometimes it's your light. People are threatened by you. I would tell you to keep speaking up in those meetings. Because I believe God is going to put you in a place of influence. CEO is written all over the place. And you can't worry about the people around you and what they think and they look. So what? You got to understand who we serve. They're going to look at you like that. You continue to speak up. You continue to advocate for yourself. And it's okay for you to say no. You have to have those boundaries in the workplace as well because they will overwork you because you let them. But when you go with authority and you tell them and you say no, you don't have to give a reason. It's no exclamation point. I said what I said. No, I'm not doing that. And it's okay to say that. And I think us as women, we walk in and we get afraid because if I say this or if I do this, then I'm going to get let go. Then, that's not going to happen. You have to walk in authority and walk in who you are. You have to stop shrinking and lose. You have too much wisdom and you have too much knowledge. And I believe that God is going to open the door for you. Keep praying, keep doing what you're doing, keep serving. I'm telling you that somebody is going to see you and your capabilities and the things that you have on the inside of you, and you will be like, thank you, God, it was all worth it. But watch God and come back and tell me when you do it, because I have the faith that He's going to do it for you. Anybody else want to share their number one? Anything different?
I'm not in corporate.
Oh.
I'm a pastor.
Oh.
Well, a former pastor. And
I'm sorry.
When I was pastoring, I was promoted to district supervisor. Now, in the church that I'm in, women can't hold those positions because they're set aside for bishops. But so they could start adding women to those, to that category, they changed the name from district bishops and regional bishops to supervisors. So they made me a district supervisor. And I had 5 churches in my district. And we have 139 churches in North Carolina. We have 5 regions and about it's 20 or 22 districts. So we were in a meeting, and the church leadership is male dominated, as we know, and there was only 3 of us at the time, 3 women, and something was said, and I gave a response, and I got the look. And it's hard when you're in a male-dominated area. It's hard. And because of that, for a few years, I quit saying anything. I just went, and I didn't say anything. I regret it now, but then I didn't have the strength. I wouldn't do it that way now, because I've grown and I'm a little older, so I would handle it differently. But then I just shrunk.
And we as women do that a lot. And I want to say to you and the women in this room, go where you are celebrated. Too many times us as women, we have to fight for a space in the room instead of creating our own. Oh, I was telling you the time. Hey, take that again, girl. But you have to go where you are celebrated. Too many times I see us as women, we have to fight for a spot. When you said male-dominated, especially in the church, and we know we do have a lot of male-dominated in leadership. We do have a lot of women as well. But you have to go where you are celebrated. You have to pray to God and say, God, where is the ministry, or where is the place that you want to plant me so I can grow? Because you never should be a part of the ministry that you can't grow. And it's not about being on the forefront, and it's not about being seen. It's about where can I be planted so you can use me the most. And if you cannot speak and you are being silenced with where you were, then that's not the place that God has for you. Right, Pastor Sam, because I see you over there shaking your head. So you have to go where you are celebrated. Anytime you're in these rooms and you feel like you're shrinking, it means that either you need to step up or either you need to remove yourself and go somewhere else that you can be safe. Those are the 2 ways when you feel like you are in the background. You have to step up and be who God called you to be, or either that's not the room that you're supposed to be in and you need to switch up and pray about it. Keep moving. Number 2, anybody want to talk about number 2? What's your leadership journey look like so far? Transition or anything in leadership you're looking to do? Anybody?
Okay. I'm going to stand up because I normally don't. And this is something that I'm walking into, standing up when I don't like to. So my leadership role has been really difficult. I work for the Postal Service, and years ago, about 25 years ago, I was a custodian at the Postal Service, and I work for headquarters now. Okay. But before I got there, it was, I got promoted to supervisor. My first day as a supervisor, I go to the meeting, and when I was at the meeting at this table, we all met at the one table at that time. I get to the meeting room, and the manager there said, she's an official supervisor, a Form 50, which means official supervisor. I know you can't believe it. Yeah, that was said in front of me. I know you can't believe it, but she's one of us, and you have to treat her as one of us. And she has to come to our meetings, okay? So I wanted to cry, of course. I wanted to leave the room, but I had to sit there and listen to that and act like it didn't affect me. And that happened for years, okay? I was given an office, of course each supervisor had their own office. And I was given an office that used to be a storage room, okay? It was on the same floor as everybody else, but it had been storage for EEO files and stuff stuff that nobody wants to deal with. So they told me, you can have that office. So I go in there, it's dust and everything. So of course I used to be a custodian. So I got the other custodians, can you help me clean this office? So I did that, and they know where all the furniture is and the chairs and stuff, so they hooked me up. Okay, so it was very nice. And they did that, and it was up some stairs. So it was nice. Okay, I had that office maybe 2 weeks. I don't even know if it was 2 weeks. I came to work one day, and all of my stuff was out in the hallway. And somebody else was in my office. Yeah, they were just waiting for me to clean it up, make it nice. And they took it from me, okay? So I was given several groups of people that I had to supervise. While the other supervisors, their duties were given to me. So these were all men. They laughed, they're like, she's gonna fail. So by this time I was a custodian, and I had been a clerk in this maintenance department, and they were waiting for me to fail at it, and I didn't know what I was doing. Okay, so I'm thinking, okay, I got this job, they're gonna help me now. You know, I did good enough. I was a supervisor. I know, I kind of know some things. I became a supervisor, but no, they didn't. So I got the duties of everybody, and I had to learn those jobs. But I ended up doing so well that I became an acting manager, not a Form 50 manager, acting manager. So in that meantime, there were a couple of people that got hurry up, I know. There were a couple of people that retired. So guess who got that work? Me. So I got their work, and they asked me to train 2 other people. So I did, of course, you know, like, they're gonna walk with you, see what you do. Well, when it came time for those jobs to get posted, they got the jobs, not me. I'm still acting. So this went on for years. I even left the city. I lived in Ohio then. This was in Dayton, Ohio. And said, well, I'll go to Cincinnati to see what happens over there. Well, it was a small area. They talked from Dayton to Cincinnati. It's the same company. Like, oh, she's coming over there. Different, you know, same thing happened. So I ended up, I'm from North Carolina. Travis is my nephew, by the way. So I moved back here, and seemed like, gosh, this is still happening to me. But I ended up getting it was better. Ended up getting a manager's position in Raleigh. I moved to Raleigh, and then I got a manager's position in Fayetteville. And I went on details and things like that. But to kind of summarize the story, it's been a struggle because where I work is men. I'm not, even the position that I'm in now, they're white men that I work with. And I've had them take ideas of mine while I'm talking, act like I'm not saying anything, dismiss what I'm saying, and then use the very idea, rephrase it, use the very thing that I gave them as if it was theirs. So that's been my struggle, and I normally shrink back. I've always done that from a child. I'm not going up there. I'm going to shrink to the back. I'm going to tell somebody else what I think, and, you know, let them do that, and that's that. So now I'm in a position where I can't do that. I have to make presentations. I have to lead, and not lead from the back. That's why I'm standing up, because I'm challenging myself to do that. But it's been difficult, and it's been a journey where I have to pray, God help me. All of it has not been negative, not by far. Even in the negativity, I've had people say, I saw you overcome it. I saw what you did. I'm not racist, I'm not sexist. I'm a person that's watching you. And I've had people advocate for me, and that's actually how I got to headquarters. Because I was working with someone years ago that I'm just doing my job. And this person used to be a leader, he was a contractor at the time. But before he retired, he was in leadership. And he said, I'm going to make sure you get promoted, and, you know, things happen from there. That's what happened.
So let me ask you this. In those situations, did you ever speak up for yourself?
I did.
To them, to the people that did, or to?
Sometimes I did and sometimes I didn't. It was hard for me because I'm really nice, or I will fight, or it's one or the other. It's you're gonna get me fighting, or I'm gonna be real nice.
That's why you can't be a nice leader.
Yeah.
You can be a kind leader, but nice gets you trampled over.
Yeah.
Kind gives you authority, and people not gonna take advantage of you. And everything that I kept listening to you in that moment, they did that because you allowed it. And I know that a lot of us don't like to speak up for ourselves because we're so afraid of what's gonna happen. In those moments like that, I want you to start having, when you give ideas, follow up in an email and say, hey John, the idea that I gave you today, write out that idea.
Yes.
And I'm glad you enjoyed it. You keep a paper trail of everything that you do because they do that.
Yeah.
And I learned over the years that I started following in a paper trail and I see my boss on it. To say, hey, you know that idea that we talked about in the meeting that I gave you? I laid out the idea that I gave to the person. I'm glad that you enjoyed it. I hope we can work together. You can be sarcastic. I hope we can work together on that because you loved it so much. However you want to word it.
Yeah. And I have started doing that, and I've also started doing that when it comes to accusations. I just want to be sure that we're clear about that.
Right.
Yes,
and I'm telling you, we are the only race that don't go to HR because we're scared that we're going to lose our job.
Yeah.
But you have to keep a paper trail. When I tell you I have a paper trail and folders in my Outlook of every conversation that I have with somebody, because I'm going to say, remember January of 2024 at 2:34 p.m. when I told you this information and you said you never received it? Let me forward you this email right quick. You have to be 10, as a black woman in leadership, you have to be 10 steps ahead of them. But you cannot be a nice leader. You can be a kind and respectable leader, but nice gets you trampled over, I'm telling you. And it's not about being an angry black woman, because you know that's what we get. But you have to stand firm on your beliefs. You have to stand firm on who you are. You have to stand firm on your ideas and what you're giving to the team, especially with the male-dominated work and white men at that. You can't be nice. Because they're going to try to take advantage of you in that situation.
Part of the reason I got promoted was because of an EEO that I filed, because I was defending myself, and I actually won. So what they were trying to do was retaliate for years.
But always keep a paper trail. So on your journey on leadership, keep yourself motivated to be who you are, but remember, it's okay to speak up for yourself. They're going to have a perception of you whether you like it or not, because we don't know what they're thinking in their brain anyway. So they're going to have a perception of you. And you can't be scared to speak up for yourself. But keep a paper trail of everything. Don't allow people to steal your ideas. Even if they did steal it, say, oh, you want to do the idea that we talked about the other day. That's great. That's amazing. Oh, I'm sarcastic. So you can't, they know not to play with me. They know not to steal anything from me because I'm going to out you in front of everybody. Oh, John, really? We just talked about that the other day. The idea I gave you in my office, you want to do that idea? And I be serious about it because you can't allow people to play with you like that because they're going to keep crossing those boundaries that I keep talking about. You got to have those boundaries and not let people cross it, and you can't be scared to stand up for yourself. You have a beautiful spirit. I don't know you personally, but I can see that you have a beautiful spirit. And I'm going to pray that God allows you to grow in leadership because we need more women like you. Amen. Okay, we got one more little deal. Let's get down to number 5. Anybody want to talk about that? What's one way you can represent Christ in leadership without saying his name? Yes.
So I oftentimes deal with this. I am very similar to her. I work in a male-dominated in terms of leadership. At my company, I'm the only black anything that's in management. There are no black men, and I'm the only black woman. And when you walk into those rooms, before I even go in, I pray before every meeting to ask the Lord to lead me and to watch my mouth, you know, because I don't want to come across as an angry black woman, but I also want to be intentional about what I do. And so my staff have seen me. I'll say, and I know HR has their rules that things you can't say, but I always, you know, tell them, you know, I don't do anything without praying. So I put that out there right up from the beginning. I pray about everything, you know, and I've been doing that for so long that now my staff in particular, when they have issues, whether family, work, I'm sick, grandma, you know, is having a test, the first thing they say is, Tamara, can you pray for us? Can you pray for my family? You know, and so even with my manager, I just recently got a promotion.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And it was, when I met with my manager for the first time, I said to him, I said, I have some non-negotiables. I was like, I live with integrity. I go to Christ about everything. You know, I am transparent. So please don't ask me to do something that is outside of who I am, because the answer is no. You know, and so he was like, oh, you know, I'm an honest person. I was like, good. So then we both will be on the same page with that. I said, but I will not compromise my integrity. And the one thing I wanted to say to her, we have to be willing to give up the position, you know, to stand firm on your belief. You know, you have to be willing to walk away. You know, and I've said that, you know, many a times. It has been a trying 3 months. I'm finally getting level because I got the promotion because we had to have a reduction in force on our team, and my manager decided that it was too much, you know, because we were losing 40% of our staff, knowing that we had 20% more work to do. So she just decided, I don't want to be an operational manager. She was more of a strategic person. I can set up things and then do it, but now to really look at operational, she's like, I don't want to do it. And so I came in knowing that, you know, I had fewer staff, but we still had the same or an increased workload. And so, but I had to say to myself, Tamara, you know, let the Lord lead me. But I also understood that I had to be willing to walk away. If this does not work out, if they don't listen to what I'm saying, I have to be willing to say, okay, this is enough. And I think that's important for us as Black women to really take that position. You know, I'm going to command the room and I'm going to say what I need to say, but if they're not listening and don't want to take your advice on things, you have to decide whether or not I'm going to continue this fight or I'm going to walk away.
And I love the thing that you said, you have to have integrity. I know me and Ebony and Crystal was in Paris for a women's conference that we had went to, that we had to speak in, and there are going to be, when you're in corporate spaces and you do believe in God, there are going to be people that don't believe the same as you. And when you call to the marketplace, not just the church, you have to learn that you have the autonomy to not allow things in your spirit. So they had one lady that got up and it was more so it was a lot that she was saying. And I walked out and went to the bathroom, and Ebony and Crystal was looking like, where did you go? Because I don't allow everything in my spirit. And you have to be okay with that. And Ebony like, well, you know, I'm used to church. I ain't know what to do. I said, I'm in these corporate spaces all the time, and I walk out a lot. Because a lot of things that they talk about, you don't have to let in your spirit. So you have the autonomy to change the atmosphere. You have the autonomy to what you allow in your actual spirit. And I know you got 2 minutes. Anybody have any questions that wasn't on the sheet or anything that you wanted to ask really quick? Sure. Congratulations, I love you.
I'm not worried because I've done it myself, but I think it's time. Set. Clothing. Just how I've looked in the YouTube videos. I'm not boring. I like color. I like animal print. I wear sneakers, and I don't want to change myself just because, you know, I might be in front of somebody, whoever. So I've been trying to figure out the balance. I'm not buying a whole bunch of new stuff. I'm going to use what I have, but I guess I'm trying to figure out. I don't even know my question. Like, just.
Oh, I understand your question, because girl, you all up. I just do me.
Yeah.
Do you. You don't have to appear or be somebody that you're not. They wear a lot of black at these conferences. I'm not a black girly. Nikki got me in black and white today, but I'm not a black girly. I like colors. They may have on a black suit, I'm gonna have on an orange suit. It's not about being seen, it's about me being who I am because I love color. It's just something about color that just changes your mood. And that's just who I am. I would say when you go into that director role, don't go in changing who you are. You got that role for a reason. You got that role by being here. So you don't have to change who you are. So I would say, because directorship is a lot, because you're going to see a lot on that actual level. And I'm praying for your mental, and I'm praying for you because it is going to be a lot, and I'm not going to lie to you that that role is not a lot. But go in it being who you are, go in it being authentic. Don't allow them to change who you are. You stand firm on who you are. You speak up. You walk in authority. You say what it is that you need to say. Anything that you need to implement, you implement it. You say it. You speak up for yourself. But don't go in and thinking, I have to change this. I have to do this. I have to do this. Give yourself 30 days of grace to learn the role, to learn your team, to learn what it is that you have to do and wiggle and find your way. But if I can tell you anything, do not change who you are because that's what got you there. Amen.
That was good. Stay connected to She Woke Up by following us on social media and register for SWU 2026 by visiting SheWokeUp.com. Get 30% off with SWU 30 at checkout.